And we are live. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Nicholas Downey from the Inner Circle Games Network, and welcome to another episode of The Breakdown. It's been a while since we've done this. Actually, last episode we did was prior to Red Dead Redemption 2 releasing, so have the times changed since then. So I'm joined as always by Mr. Samuel Tolbert, editor for the Inner Circle Games Network.
Hey, yeah. We didn't plan on this, by the way. This is extremely impromptu for what I think are painfully obvious reasons. We didn't plan on doing this. We weren't going to do a breakdown episode on anything really, and we were talking in DMs about how we didn't have something to do a breakdown on. But then the universe decided to deal us a new deck of cards.
I'm sitting there at work on lunch, like skimming through the news in the past few days, going, it's really getting hard to do breakdown episodes with this lack of news. And then you started sending me reset era threads, and then Variety posted the article, and I was like, oh, okay, so we got to do this now.
It was like the Jaws theme with all the stuff I was sending you, because it was like, hey, dude, we got a rumor, dong. And then we got, hey, dude, we got Jason Schreier commenting on this, dong. And then the Variety article came out, and the shark breaks out of the water. So, okay, yeah, just give a recap in case there's some reason why someone isn't here and they don't know.
Yeah, so in case anyone has not been on social media and somehow found my YouTube channel without checking Twitter. So today, PlayStation announced that they will not be attending E3 this year. In their nearly 24-year history, PlayStation has attended every single E3. Traditionally, they hold press conference alongside Xbox and others, making new announcements and presenting their games. And it's not happening now, thanks to Variety and Game Informer and Kotaku confirming the news originally. The Game Informer had an actual statement from Sony as why they were not attending E3 2019. As the industry evolves, Sony Interactive Entertainment continues to look for inventive opportunities to engage the community. PlayStation fans mean the world to us. We always want to innovate, think differently, and experiment with new ways to delight gamers. As a result, we have decided not to participate in E3 2019. We're exploring new and familiar ways to engage our community in 2019. Can't wait to share our plans with you. So this is pretty much a copy and paste statement of how they canceled PSX. Except they just put E3 in place of PSX and 2018 instead of 2019. So what are your thoughts, Sam? E3 cancellation of Sony? Like, what's going on with that? What do you think?
I mean, first off, how can anyone not just be stunned, like shocked initially? How can you not? Because this is unprecedented. We haven't had anything like this. And before anyone asks me with, well, Microsoft is pulling out of E3 or Nintendo, it's like, not to the same extent, okay? I went to E3 this year. Nintendo still held a Nintendo Direct. It was focused on Smash Bros. Like, that's 90% of what it was, but they still held an E3-oriented Nintendo Direct, and they still had a massive chunk of floor space. Microsoft held they referred to it as their E3 2018 conference, and they had a ton of floor space in the Microsoft Theater right across the street. So yes, they pulled out of E3, but it's not really the same thing. What Sony is doing here, they've made it abundantly clear. There will be no E3 stream. There will be no E3 fan event. They will not be on the floor. They will not be at or involved with the show in any way. That's why this is unprecedented. It's completely different. This is a full pullout. It's not even remotely the same thing. So I'm still getting over my initial level of shock. Honestly, Nick, is where I'm at with this. Once the dust sort of settled and the craziness calmed down a little bit, you begin to see a few things that emerge. If you don't mind me going over 3 points, that immediately come to mind for me.
Sure.
First, as we've been saying, the PS5 is not coming in 2019. Stop it. Team 2019, there is no Team 2019 anymore. Cut it out. It's not happening. There's no way. Okay? It's not happening. If it were happening, they would have E3, because not being at E3 to promote your new console would be suicide. You can't do that. So that's not happening. The other thing that tells me, and we talked about this on a couple of episodes ago on the Gaming Perspective, a few episodes ago, this means that Last of Us Part 2, Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, and probably Dreams are still far out. Those are all still probably 2020 games. The first three, certainly. Maybe Dreams makes 2019. But they're not, and here's why. Because if they had something else to show and those games were going to be out in 2019, then they would be attending E3 2019 and letting people play the games on the show floor. They would be letting people try, a Ghost of Tsushima or a Last of Us Part 2 demo booth, or they would be announcing something new since those games were all going to be out by the end of the year. That's clearly not happening. Those games will not be there. The third point and the final point, this is more conjecture, but I feel safe saying it. We're looking at a massive PSX 2019, an absolutely massive PSX. They didn't hold the PSX this year because, again, I don't think they have anything to show. I think they blew everything they had back in 2016, maybe by 2017, because they did reveal Medieval, the Medieval remake, and a couple of smaller games like Shadow of the Colossus, the remastered version by Bluepoint, which was excellent, and Ghost of Tsushima, that was revealed in 2017 as well. But between 2016 and 2017, they revealed all their games for this generation. So they didn't have anything to show for PSX. I still think they should have done a fan event because PSX, XO, at the end of the day, that's what they are, fan events. Some people forget that, but it is what it is. And as a result of all this, I think they're going to come back for PSX 2019 in a massive way. Reveal the PS5, reveal Horizon Zero Dawn 2, reveal the next Gran Turismo, reveal a bunch of other stuff, come out swinging with a big dedicated fan and press event that shows what PS5, what PlayStation's next gen is going to be all about. Those are my takeaways right now. Nick?
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you on a lot of what you said, and I certainly think Sony's in an interesting situation because they have so much mind share right now.
Absolutely.
As an absolute company. They've been an absolute juggernaut this generation. And they really can't misstep so much that they would lose the lead. They can't lose the lead at this point.
Not without some colossal, idiotic mistakes we both know they won't make.
Exactly.
It would take nonsense.
And the thing that's sticking out right now to me is an issue is they canceled PSX 2018 saying they didn't have enough to show and they didn't want to rehash, which I respect. And if anyone remembers or follows me when PSX was canceled, I said suck for the fans, but I respect why Sony canceled PSX. You don't want to. It was the same issue that Microsoft had with going to Gamescom a few years back, and then after E3 and just showing the same stuff. People don't want that. But the thing is if you look back to the PSX cancellation, Layden specifically said that and I quote, "We don't want to set expectations really high and then not deliver on it." Mm-hmm. That's a big statement because the thing is by skipping E3 and then putting all your chips on most likely a PSX 2019 where you're going to unveil new console, new software, and everything else, you've got to knock it out of the park.
Right. It's a gamble. It's a gamble.
It's a really, really ballsy gamble. I don't think that, because I know there's been some comments saying that this could be cocky Sony returning. I don't think this is cocky Sony. I think this is ballsy Sony.
Agreed. That's a much better way of saying it. Yeah, because in fact, I think Greg Miller actually put that very well. He kind of said the same thing.
Yeah, and I'm kind of in agreement. There's some points I disagree with Greg Miller in that chain of tweets, but he made very, very good points in regards to the fact that doing it like this, it's ballsy, but you get mind share because everyone's going to be, when E3 2008 or 2019 rolls around, everyone's going to be hemming and hawing. There's going to be great things at E3 2019, no matter what. And people are going to be still sitting there. It's always going to be in the back of people's mind. What would PlayStation have brought here? Mm-hmm. What could we have seen from PlayStation here? And then, so they get the mind share there because everyone's going to be like, well, would Sony's conference have looked like?
Right.
And then fast forward to closer, I'm going to say fall, winter. I say fall, winter because I don't know where, because of them not going to E3, where they're going to land PSX. But if they land PSX, we say in October, November to unveil PS5 for 2020. They're going to get, everyone's going to be all eyes on Sony. There's going to be no other event unless XO takes place in the same time frame it did. And then we have Xbox and PlayStation going head to head with their own events, which would be insane. But it's risky what they're doing, but I think they have enough mind share they can pull it off if it's a blowout. And there's a few things that will prevent it from being a blowout in my mind. And the main thing for me that'll prevent it from being a blowout is if they can't get this software that they've been showing us for 2 to 3 years out the door before they're revealing PS5.
Right. I would agree 100% with that point. That's the issue that they face. And it's not insurmountable. It's not an insurmountable issue, but it is an issue to pay attention to because, look, The Last of Us Part 2 is one of my most anticipated games. I'm interested in Death Stranding. I'm interested in Ghost of Tsushima. But these games have to come out.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. Is like the biggest thing for me is if you bought a PS4 on the promise of, well, The Last of Us Part 2 was never a promise. There was no part of me that after playing The Last of Us thought this is definitely getting a sequel. But if you bought a PS4 and went, oh, I can't wait to play Death Stranding, I can't wait to play Dreams, I can't wait to play Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima I give a bit of a pass to because they haven't been like, it's not something we've seen a huge amount of times. But frankly, I'm getting really sick of seeing Death Stranding. Like, I just want to play it at this point.
Death Stranding suffers from the same issue, one of the same issues Crackdown 3 suffers from, in the sense that it was revealed way too early. Because both of those games were announced before they actually began development, and it shows. It shows big time.
Yeah. And I think, like, it may not be a huge issue for some people, but if you're showing PS5 games, but you still have PS4 games that haven't released yet, that's a hitch. That's a kind of, well, okay, so we're getting under these PS5 games coming in. Like, it creates a doubt with your consumer. And Sony has been very good at being transparent with their community. And I always said this, especially what led to me buying a PS4, is the roadmap. The roadmap Sony has always shown since the start of this generation is what made me buy a PS4. Because they're completely transparent with these are the games that are coming out. And I was like, as soon as I saw God of War, I went out and bought a PS4. Because that's one of my favorite franchises. That's what sold me on a PlayStation 4.
The Year of Dreams in E3 2016. I don't care what anyone has to say about 2015. That was a bunch of nonsense, and a lot of us knew it at the time. But 2016 was legit. God of War, and then, Days Gone, and Marvel's Spider-Man, and then later in the year at PSX revealing Last of Us Part 2. That was incredible. That was an incredible year.
Yeah, for sure.
And it paid off for them. It absolutely paid off for them. But again, now those games have to come out. And as we've kind of been talking about, they have to have a transition year. They got to take the foot off the gas. They got to breathe. They're well in the lead for software and hardware sold, particularly the hardware, in terms of, over 80 million consoles. So, they're fine there. They'll keep their lead. But they got to breathe a little bit. They got to get things transitioned over. They need to fix some of this PSN nonsense. Like, oh, yeah, you can finally change your name after all these years, but yeah, it may delete some of your trophies and screw up your multiplayer progress and blah, blah, blah. Like, they need to figure that stuff out. They need to take a year off, figure it out. It's not like games won't come out. Days Gone is going to come out. The Medieval Remake, Concrete Genie, maybe Dreams comes out. We're not really sure. Who knows at this point regarding that thing? Poor Media Molecule. But The others, they're going to have games. It's not like they're going to disappear off the face of the earth. We just got to cool it. They got to take a year and cool down. We can all breathe. Let's all relax, and then they come back in a big way at PSX 2019. That's the key here. That's what's going to happen, I feel. Now, that does introduce a new problem. Again, can they pull PSX 2019 off? Because they'll have gone basically 2 years without any communication, because they didn't hold PSX 2018. They didn't hold Paris Games Week 2018. They basically might as well have not held Tokyo Game Show, and their E3, while the games look great, didn't have any announcements. So they've basically gone, but this time next year, they'll have gone basically 2 years without a big blowout for their fans. The anticipation is going to be massive. The anticipation is going to be ridiculous. The hype is going to be ridiculous. And dude, we both know what happens when hype doesn't live up to expectations. Or excuse me, the expectations don't live up to the hype, rather. It gets ugly. Well, so that's the key. That's what this boils down to is that's what they're going to aim for. Can they pull it off?
With PSX 2019, wherever it may fall, the big thing they got to do is these games that aren't out yet, and it's safe to, like, we're just going to assume and go ahead and assume that Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and Death Stranding aren't 2019 games.
Those are 2020 games. I don't care what anyone has to say. Those three are 2020 games. Dreams is a 50-50.
And if those games come out in 2019, cool. I am 100% okay with that. I will own being wrong about it proudly and play the hell out of those games. But the thing is if they come to PSX 2019, those games need concrete release dates.
Yes. No. Oh, well, we're crunching away. Ha ha. Oh, how you doing, Corey? Like, no. What they did at PSX 2017, I actually liked PSX 2017, by the way. I'm one of the people who liked it. I thought it was a fun fan event. I liked the talks. They can't do that, though. They can't. They have to say, yes, Last of Us Part 2, XYZ 2020. Ghost of Tsushima, XYZ 2020. Death Stranding 2020. And if I had to bet on when they come out, I'm just going to go ahead and throw these dates out there for fun. I'd say Ghost of Tsushima is March to April. Last of Us Part 2 is May to June. And Death Stranding is September to October, all in 2020. That would be my guesses.
So you're going with the God of War, Detroit, and Spider-Man release date?
Roughly, yeah. Pattern. I mean, give them a couple of weeks of leniency, but roughly, yes. Roughly the 2018 pattern.
It makes sense. And the thing is what people fail to understand is when we talk about these games and say they're going to be 2020, that's not a knock against the games.
No, let them take their time. Don't crunch. Let them fix things. Let them develop. It is what it is,
Yeah, and that's just the situation that PlayStation's at right now. And they do have a good setup, and this is why I've been laughing at people that said PS5 2019 release date. The thing is they don't have the software to launch in 2019. Because if you launch and try to sell people PS5 with The Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Dreams, and Death Stranding, you're going to piss a lot of people off. Because there's going to be a lot of people that sat there and went, I bought a PS4 for these games. Why am I buying PS5 for these games? Whereas if they show at PSX 2019, they're like, hey, these games are coming at PS4, and even if they announce them that they're coming at PS5 too. And they're like, oh, but we also have Horizon Zero Dawn 2, and here's an exciting teaser for the sequel to God of War, or here's the next Gran Turismo, or if they do some corner block franchises, which I think they will be smart enough to do. I really don't think Microsoft or Sony is going to come out with a mediocre launch lineup again.
No, I think we can. A lot of stuff is difficult to say without knowing how well their studios are doing, but I think we can both agree that a new Gran Turismo, a mainline Gran Turismo, and a Horizon Zero Dawn 2 are guaranteed. Maybe not at launch, but launch window.
Yes.
Within the first 3 to 4 months after the PS5 comes out, both of those are guaranteed. They'll probably have a couple of indies in there. Japan Studio has probably been doing something. It's knowing my luck. It's probably Knack 3 Darn you, Cerny. It's probably Knack 3, something like that. But the point is, Knack 3 aside, they're going to have established franchises. Absolutely. Because God of War, that sequel's going to take time. Marvel Spider-Man, that sequel's going to take time. We can't expect those at launch. We can't.
No,
it's going to take time.
Launch, definitely not. But the thing is, and I will say this, is don't expect God of War or Spider-Man. Well, depending on what Insomniac's doing. With Sony Santa Monica, it's really easy to predict what they're going to be doing, most likely.
It's obvious.
Give or take, because there's also the rumor that Corey's going to get to work on a new IP that he wants to work on. There is that floating around, so that could be taken into consideration. But the thing is that God of War and Spider-Man, they were built from the ground up. The thing is though that ground up is now just going to be improved upon for sequels. Mm-hmm. They're not remaking God of War from the ground up. They're going to use the same. I'm not going to say they're going to reuse the same pattern.
They have a foundation to build on.
They have a baseline.
Yes.
They have a baseline to build on. And that is going to make a sequel a lot easier. Mm-hmm. But that being said, there's a tons of games that they can launch PSX 2019. And they could easily blow PSX 2019 out of the water and wow their fans. But the thing is after 2 years of not doing anything for their fans, they've got to be transparent through this process, because the thing is that my biggest problem with this is Sean Layden came out and said PSX 2018 isn't happening because we've got nothing to show right now, but we have stuff coming down the line and new ways we're going to share with you. Cool. And then literally all we've gotten since then is the Medieval remake trailer, which looks good. Don't get me wrong, that looks really cool. And some VR stuff, and now we're canceling E3 2019 before the year is even over. It's interesting. It's just, for a company that was so transparent for so long, this generation, it's so weird to see them circle the wagons, so to speak. And now all of a sudden, everything's speculation.
Yeah, and it's not, I hesitate using the word concerning, but it's eyebrow raising, to say the least. It's because here's the thing: software and hardware and price, those aligned. But at the end of the day, the reason the PS4 took off over the Xbox One was clear, crystal clear, transparent PR. At the end of the day, that's what sealed the deal. And I'm not sure that that's going to happen this time around. I'm not sure that the PR is clear enough.
I agree. And they need to show fans. When you say you have new ways you're going to share and interact with your fans, you've got to have something just around the corner. Because if you go 6 months without sharing anything with your fans, you're going to get an edgy fan base.
Mm-hmm. An irritable fan base. A ticking time bomb. Yep.
And the reason I say this is because as an Xbox fan that used to have to go E3 to E3 basically for news back on 360 and early generation Xbox One, where you're sitting there, you go, well, that's E3, so I guess I kind of wait and hope for the best till the next one. And Microsoft has solved that with Inside Xbox and XO now. So there's a lot more transparency on what's going on with Microsoft. Even if people don't agree with all the moves Microsoft is making, they have fixed their transparency issue. And now Sony is doing the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
They had transparency and now it's confusing. And they've put their foot in their mouth several times about it. And like the biggest thing that sticks, this is the thing that sticks in my head the most, and why I'm disappointed with how they're handling this, is when they said, I think it was PSX 2017, and they said there was no way that Days Gone Dreams don't hit 2018.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And look, here's the thing. Let's be honest. Days Gone was going to be an October game, and then Red Dead happened. Okay, that's what happened. We both know it. But It is what it is.
Yeah. And it's interesting to see the response from people as well. And why I bring up the response is there's a lot of people that are split. And this is kind of how we'll round out and finish this topic up. Is this a sign that E3 is past its expiry date? Or is this a sign of Sony having to deal with stuff in their own backyard?
Or is it both?
Yeah. Let's face it, the reception to PlayStation's E3, while they showed amazing games off, was lukewarm from media. And, you know, the whole Church of Sony thing was...
It was corny.
It was right up there in the cringe factor of some of the stuff they've done with Inside Xbox. It's right up there. And I don't know if it's just how I feel as a fan or what, but I just want Sony to keep doing what they were doing in 2017, showing us games, releasing games, being transparent. Like, if a game's having issues, just say the game's having issues.
Absolutely.
These open-ended, I understand why developers aren't giving release dates anymore and they're going the release window route. But I find release windows are way too open-ended now. We just never know now. And like, we spend 50% of our times as gamers speculating on when's this game coming out? I don't know. And to me, that's horrible PR to me. Is if your fans are saying they're going, I don't know when this game's coming out. Like, we've got a whole list of games from Microsoft and Sony right now that don't even have release windows. They're okay, we've seen this game 2 or 3 times now. When's it coming out? I don't know. It's getting ridiculous to me.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I feel like Sony just needs to get back to what they know. And they're still releasing great games. They just had Tetris Effect. That was a really good game. I'm picking that up at some point. They're still on track. And I think next gen is really complicated for Sony too, because you've got PlayStation VR, which has a very dedicated fan base. But what do you do with PlayStation VR? Does your headset transfer over to PS5, or do you try to sell people another VR headset? Are they going to try to dabble into the portability market because Nintendo's doing insanely well with the Switch? Are they going to try to bring a handheld back again? There's a lot of different things that Sony could be looking at, dealing with, and everything else. So we don't know. But I think we could basically say is E3 without Sony it's going to be weird.
It's going to be very weird.
And
it's going to be very disappointing.
Disappointing to me, and the only reason it's super disappointing to me was this year's supposed to be my first E3.
Right. That completely slipped my mind for the purpose of this show. And
I'm sitting there like, well, damn it. There were so many developers. Like, there goes my chances of seeing like Corey from Sony Santa Monica at E3 and a handful of other devs I really wanted to get the opportunity to meet. Hopefully they do PSX 2019 in Canada. Likelihood of that happening is like never.
Hey, you never know. XO came back and it was in Mexico City. Let's not rule anything out, yeah?
Yeah, true. My luck, it'll be in some weird part of Canada. We're going to the Great White North to reveal PS5. Damn it! But yeah, I don't think, to basically wrap this up, I don't think Sony's in trouble. And we're going to see a lot of people. There's basically 2 camps on this. Sony doesn't have any games to show, so they're panicking and they pulled out of E3 ahead of time to save themselves the embarrassment of re-showing stuff. And then there's the camp of, well, it sounds like they're planning something and they need to have everything in one show. And it makes sense. If you think about if they show PS4 and PS5 games at E3 2019 and then show off PSX 2019, they're like, This is the PS5. People will be like, yeah, we knew it was coming because we saw it E3. We saw all these games already. And you notice that this is our generational crossover. None of these developers or studios are showing next-gen titles yet.
Right.
And that's something they were doing in 2012, 2013, all the way up till the launch, was these are next-generation titles. That's a huge selling point. But nobody's doing that yet.
Right.
And I think that's going to ramp up this year. And I think Sony's going to definitely do a blowout PSX, and they're going to be like, these are PS5 games. But they just have to sort out the PS4 games they still have left over.
Right.
Do you have any other thoughts, Sam?
Not really. At this point, we're in wait and see. And, okay, at risk of annoying some people, I guess it's now wait till PSX 2019.
Yep. Wait till PSX 2019. Oh my God.
It can be a hashtag. We're going to make it a hashtag, dude.
I just want to say, too, shout out to all the people that have been making lighthearted jokes. I've seen amazing jokes about this. And I don't mean like toxic trolley jokes. I mean legitimately hilarious jokes from, oh, well, who's going to take up Sony's E3 floor space? THQ Nordic, because they acquired every indie developer in Europe. And things like that. And it's really cool to see people having lighthearted fun with it. And it's really just a nice change of pace from the usual responses. Maybe I've just cleaned up my Twitter feed enough now that I just get the good stuff.
I think that's probably the more likely of the two.
Probably. But yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of The Breakdown. Hopefully we'll keep having more and more news so that we can do these more frequently or consistently. So we'll do outros here. Sam?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Samuel Talbert. You can find what we write on techgamesnetwork.com. And if you have a question after you're listening to this after the fact, just leave a comment and we'll get to it in an episode of The Gaming Perspective, because we will check these for comments.
Yeah, for sure. If you have any comments, slander, or anything else, you can leave it in the comment section.
Personal attacks, we like those, you know.
Yeah, I love them. Yeah, so that pretty much wraps up the episode. You guys can actually find me tomorrow on 7 p.m. Eastern time. If Alden or Dan had given me a link to the channel this was going to be on, I could have put this in the description. I will be on the premiere episode of the Third Wheel Arcade tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So if you follow me on Twitter at Undead3XVI, I will tweet out the link before it goes live so that people know where to find it, because I still don't know where to find it. So thank you guys for checking out The Breakdown. I'm Nicholas Downey. You can find me writing news, opinion pieces, and whatnot with Sam on the InnerCircleGamesNetwork.com. And don't forget to check out the Gaming Perspective podcast every Saturday at 8 p.m.-ish Eastern time. We are the most consistently late podcast on YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of The Breakdown, and we will catch you next time.